Hey guys, welcome. This is Kathryn with Little Bits of Heaven Homestead, where everything we do is a little bit of heaven. So, wanted to take you along tonight. I am making shampoo bars. I've been making soap like crazy recently, and I'm not keeping up with what I need to be making. But as always, we've got something going on in the kitchen, and I hope you enjoy. So I make goat milk soap traditionally, and tonight I'm excited to include some of the lard that we made, what was it, Tuesday? When I was rendering, and I hope if you guys haven't watched that video that you pop on over. It's not quite all about rendering lard. It was definitely me more on a soapbox than anything, but wanted to show you the process of making shampoo bars. So I will be using pretty much the same recipe that I use all the time, but I have added a couple more oils, and in fact this is probably my most intricate and involved soap that I've made so far. As normally I try to stick to just a couple basic oils. My preferred oils to work with are olive oil, coconut oil, and castor oil. But for this shampoo bar specifically, it's kind of got a different goal in mind as far as what your desired results are. So I've added sunflower oil, which contains oleic acid, which is really good for helping prevent hair breakage, and it encourages healthy hair growth. And I'll talk to you about the other oils that I use as I go along. But I also decided to add the lard because I've had some reports of my other shampoo bars that I've made, and I've been told that they're wonderful, they're super cleansing, they leave the hair really soft, but then the next day the hair feels a little dry if you're not using conditioner. I would probably still continue to use conditioner even if you're using shampoo bars, but this one I wanted to add the lard to see if it had a better moisturizing effect. According to the recipe that I ran through, it should be a really nice bar. So we've gone ahead and melted our oils, and I don't know if you guys can see that. The coconut oil is wanting to solidify a little bit, so I'm going to have to stir it up here in just a second. But we've already measured out our lye because that's pretty critical, and that's not something I want to be distracted as I'm doing here on video. But I do need to measure out my goat milk. I wanted to show you some of my other ingredients. I've got clay to add towards the end, and what this is going to do is anchor. Do I look really like pale to you guys? Let me see if I can. I don't know if that's going to help. It always looks different when I set it up. So hello Douglas, teach me some self-reliance. Stick around. I hope that this channel definitely does teach some self-reliance, as that's been our journey all along, is trying to figure out how to not necessarily disconnect from the system, but to be stronger, self-resilient, a little more independent, to gain the skills. So I hope each and every video teaches you something along those lines. At least that's my goal. Let me know if I'm failing miserably, and let me know what skills you want to learn, because if I have them in my, I don't know what you would call it, repertoire of skills, I would gladly share. So tonight we are shampoo bars. So what I do need to do is go ahead and measure out my milk. I feel a little behind the ball. It's been a crazy day. It's been a long day. I know I share with you guys that I am not a full-time homesteader, as I do work a job, and we've had baby goats over the last couple days, and so I'm spending a little more time out in the yard snuggling baby goats. I would say probably than I should have, but I don't know that there's too much time you can spend snuggling baby goats. That's a really sweet thing. And they pretty much come out of the womb bouncy, and it is our goats that we milk in order to make our soap bars. And so it's really a blessing when we are able to have kids on the property. So here I've got my oils. I now have my milk cubes. Because I work with goat milk soap, and I know that you can hot process with goat milk. That's not something I've ever done. The process of soap making that I prefer to use is cold processing. And I like to keep both my oils and my lye milk mixture somewhere between 60 to 70 degrees. I'm really a cold process soaper. I don't like it to heat up. I believe it's over 85 degrees. Your milk can start to scorch. It's not a problem. It still makes a good soap. It just kind of changes the odor, and it definitely changes the appearance. I really like a white, like a creamy goat milk soap, and so in order to preserve that color, I always try and keep it really cold. I don't know if you guys can see this. I I hate nighttime filming. I'm really looking forward to longer days coming because the light gets all weird. But what I have is my milk, and then I put it into a bigger bowl with ice around it, and that's going to keep it really cold. And so at this point, and I've never had live splash on me, but I do wear some basic safety things, gloves, glasses, just in case, because I kind of like the skin on my hands, and I definitely like my eyeballs. So just to keep things protected. I have had concerns brought up to me about lye fumes. I do know that is a concern when you're pouring your lye into, say, water, because it does create heat. It is an exothermic reaction, and this will heat it up, and that's why I keep this goat milk in an ice bath, is because as it starts to, the lye is going to melt these cubes here, and it takes about 5 minutes to do the whole process, and so I'll talk to you guys as it does this. So I just go ahead and dump my lye in. If you're working with water, you would really want to add your lye slowly. That would be important because it does, it can bubble up quickly. You never, ever, ever want to add your liquid to the lye. Always go lye into liquid. And that's going to hold true both now when I'm adding it to the cubes here, and then also when our lye mixture is liquefied and then I start adding it to the oils. You always go lye into liquid. It's, you could have some catastrophic results if you go the opposite. So that's one thing that I always want to point out when I'm doing soap making. And then you need to use materials that are non-reactive. So this is a stainless steel pot. You can work with glass. You don't want to use things like tin or aluminum because the reaction with the lye and those materials can potentially create some caustic results. So just try and keep your materials to stainless steel. These silicone tools are safe, but definitely stay away from aluminum and tin. And I think that you can test your existing utensils and pots and pans by putting a magnet to them. I'm not absolutely positive on that, but I believe a magnet will stick to stainless steel where it will not tin or aluminum. So that's just, if you're wondering if what you have on hand could work, that's a possibility. And then also, it's important, oh, I just lost my thought, dang it. Let's see if I can recapture that in a second. That's the disadvantage of live, is you're gonna catch me when I have some brain farts. So we are going to mix this just occasionally. As it gets slushier, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're mixing it more regularly. I usually go into a big wooden mold and I would line it with plastic wrap. If I were working with other oils that solidified quicker and faster, I don't know that I would necessarily use the plastic wrap. Tonight, since I'm doing shampoo bars, I do have my silicone molds. I really like these things. They're easy to pop out once the soaps are hardened. And anytime I'm working with goat milk, like I said, I try and keep it as cold as possible. So as soon as I pour it into these guys, what I normally do is then run it out into the freezer. Oh, I wish I could remember the thought that I lost. I hate that. It's rather than calling it Alzheimer's, I call it sometimers. Oh, and I definitely suffer from that. Oh. Okay, and you can see that this is already starting to get slushy, or at least I hope you can see that. So it is already melting our cubes. So other equipment to have on hand that would be useful but not necessarily necessary. I use this to make my soaps. It's an immersion blender. I think it was like about $20. I should put a link for that for the Amazon store because it is handy to have. I remembered my thought. Praise God. So I don't know that this is absolutely necessary, but again, as one of those things for safety's sakes, is I keep all of my soaping materials, my pot, my spatula, my spoons, my little mixing things, I keep them independent. I don't use them in the kitchen. I believe that you can clean them out real well and continue to use them. So if you can't afford to have independent just soaping supplies, you probably could use your kitchen supplies. Most of the stuff you probably already have in your kitchen. I don't think that I'd recommend it. If you can afford it, if you can go to thrift stores, you know, whatever your situation may be, I would highly suggest if you are looking into soaping, that you go ahead and invest in independent supplies just for safety's sake. So let me grab a plate real quick, hold on. Okay, that way I have it to put my spatula on as soon as I'm done. So I will have to blend here in just a minute. It does take about 4 minutes. Douglas says, do they make soap without lye? Is lye important to make your own soap? Great question. So if it's soap, and what we call soap, what we use as soap, it has definitely had lye used in the process. There is a product that you can buy called Melt and Pour. And so if you're looking at soaping but you're a little intimidated to do the lye process itself, but you can see this is not that scary. Don't be intimidated by lye. Respect it, don't be afraid of it. But Melt and Pour, it is a lye soap, but the lye process has been done by somebody else somewhere else, and you just bring it home, you can color it, you can add some sort of fragrance, but it's literally what it sounds like. You melt it and you pour it. So, but there's some beautiful works of art made with Melt and Pour soaps. So, but the quick answer to that is if it's soap, it has lye. And again, don't be afraid of this. And I'd also encourage you guys that if you've tried it once and it didn't quite go right, try it again. As I have found that most everything we do here on the homestead, the first couple times is really awkward, and learning anything is never this beautiful, graceful process, as there's a lot of messing up that goes into place, and I have found that most all of what I've learned has been through, I wouldn't call it failures, and I wouldn't call it mistakes, but I would call it maybe trial and error. So there we go. My milk and lye is pretty much liquefied. Can you see that? So what I'm gonna do, and I can read questions, and I've done quite a few videos on Dirt Patch Heaven on Facebook where I've used this immersion blender, and people say they can hear me okay. So I'm just gonna keep talking. Please tell me if you can't hear me. If you can't hear me, there's not a whole lot I can do about it. Just bear with me because it'll only be a couple minutes. But again, you want to go lye mixture into your liquids. When I put my immersion blender in here, I burp it, meaning I tap it a couple times so that all the air that's trapped under the little bell comes out. It gives you a nicer, firmer product if you don't incorporate a bunch of air into it. So, Heaven's Gates Cherry Farm, hello, welcome, thanks for joining. And you guys, if you aren't subscribers already, if you would hit the subscribe button, I would appreciate it. If you would share this video, I would appreciate it if you get anything of value. So, just because I am new and up and coming, and I'm also going to be, oh, here as I talk. So I go ahead and just pour it over the bell here. But I'm going to be setting up an Etsy store in the next couple days. I've been selling my products through Julie at Dirt Patch Heaven's site. And if you guys don't know Julie, do go check her out. I adore her, and she is the reason I am here. So I'm going to blend real quick. I hope you can still hear me. So I will be setting up an Etsy store where my lotions and soaps will be. So be looking for that. I hope to have a big announcement on Saturday. So I'll tell you about the oils that I use in here. Can you guys hear me okay? So I prefer to use coconut oil as one of my minor ingredients. There is a lot of stuff out on the internet and people recommending coconut for, it's like some miracle cure for everything. And it does have some really great properties. Video quality is excellent, forgive my ignorance, but why was goat milk chunky and not liquid? There was a little bit of the frozen part left over. It's gonna get incorporated in here. Life in the UP, hello. So for the most part it was liquid. So I think it was right at the very end, and some of the fats in the goat milk start to saponify with the lye in the bottom. So for the most part it was liquid. And you can see this is starting to look like a pudding consistency. So it'll be nice and creamy once it's all blended. So I use coconut oil, like I was saying. You'll hear all sorts of miracle cure claims with it. It is antibacterial, it is antimicrobial, it is super cleansing. And so whenever I use coconut oil in any of my products, I make sure to couple it with other oils. So I don't use this blender continuously for the 4 minutes. If you do that, it will do something called a false trace. So I'll occasionally blend, occasionally stir. My primary oil traditionally is, this is already starting to come to trace, olive oil. That's my favorite oil to use in soaps. Tonight, like I said, I am using a fair amount of lard, which I traditionally don't do, and I'm excited to see what this does. This is an experimental recipe for me, and that is something I love about soaping. It's a continuous science experiment. If you haven't soaped before, and even if you are a soaper, I recommend you always run your recipes through a soap calculator. The one I prefer to use online is soapcalc.net. But it's going to, and I'm looking for my essential oils and vitamin E oil. So if you run it through a soap calculator, you are going to figure out what kind of properties that soap is going to possess. And so tonight I played around with all my ratios and my different oils, and I was looking for specific things like hardness, cleanliness, moisturizing, bubbliness, and soapcalc.net will give you that. And so I would highly recommend, whether you get a recipe from me, whether you get a recipe online, recipe anywhere, learn to use soapcalc.net. I think that's extremely important. So this one, I used a bunch of essential oils, and that is a little different than my regular soap. It's normally I use frankincense and rosehip. I love those two specific essential oils, and I incorporate them pretty much into all of my body care products. But tonight, because this is specifically for shampoo bars, I added, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other essential oils. So this contains clary sage, peppermint, rosemary, tea tree oil, and lavender in addition to that. So Douglas says, so the soap you're making is for your hair, or is this sort of an all-purpose soap? I haven't heard of shampoo bars. So yes, this would be considered a shampoo bar, but it could be used as an all-over soap as well. As the only reason I'm calling it a shampoo bar is because the oils I chose and the essential oils I chose. Hey, Honeydew Carpenter, so good to see you. So, but the essential oils and the oils I chose for this soap are all specifically targeted for and really great for hair. So the castor oil encourages really thick, luxurious hair growth. The sunflower oil, which I referred to earlier, contains oleic acid, which is good for preventing hair breakage and also encourages hair growth. The coconut oil is really cleansing. So olive oil is really moisturizing. The essential oils that I chose all have specific functions for the hair. I'm really excited about this soap. So I am actually going to do 2 separate batches here. I'm going to go ahead and pour what I've got here, and then I had a friend special request that I do a batch with sandalwood. And so I have that set off to the side. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and pour these bars. So hey, Michelle from Serenity Mountain Homestead, welcome, it's good to see you. So I'm going to go ahead and pour these. This is starting to come to somewhere between a medium and a thick trace. As there's different stages of trace. You can have light trace where it's really liquidy, medium trace where it looks kind of like a pudding, thick trace is pretty gloppy. I try to do it somewhere between thin and medium. This is more medium. And I'm sorry you guys can't see as I pour this. I'll try and show you in just a second. But as soon as I get these trays filled, what I'm going to do is go ahead and incorporate the sandalwood that was a special request from a friend of mine. And I hope you're watching this, Josh, because I am making you shampoo bars. And in fact, my first shampoo bar, so, oh, I missed that comment. Let me take my glove off so I can touch my screen. Awkward lean in, sorry. So this is the shampoo. Hey Julie, yes, I'm making a shampoo bar tonight. So that's what, can you guys see that? Looks kind of like pudding. And I'm gonna knock it a couple times to get all sorts of air bubbles out if they are in there. Get it kind of leveled. So now I've got sandalwood. Oh, Julie says her mom loves those, the shampoo bars. Very good. Oh, I've had some really good reviews about the shampoo bars that I've made so far, and I'm trying to tweak my recipe to make it even better. So got the sandalwood in. Give that a stir. It's at this point that I would, if I were adding any sort of colorants, pour them into, I've got little measuring cups that I would add colorant to and then mix those up. But these guys, since they are shampoo bars and not decorative per se, I'm not adding any sort of colorants. So Julie says regular shampoo makes my scalp itch. I know, I feel for you. That's in fact how Julie and I got teamed up, is she has some skin issues along with her sensitive digestion, and just stress in life will make her break out, and I just feel for her. And I messaged her at some point and said, I want to send you a lotion bar, please. And she messaged me, wanted to promote my products initially after I sent her the lotion bar, and I was like, no, I'm so not into that. So what is the shelf life of the shampoo bars once complete? And let's see, whoa! I don't know what I did there. Sorry. How long on average would one of the bars last with daily use? I've been told my bars last somewhere between 2 to 4 weeks. The enemy of soap is water, so the drier you can keep them, the longer your bar will last. So I don't have a super great answer for that. It really depends. Your miles will vary. So going back to Julie, and she is the reason I am here. I think I said that earlier. I adore her. I never envisioned being on YouTube. I never envisioned doing videos. So Julie says, my soap in the shower from you lasts about 6 to 8 weeks. Awesome. Serenity Mountain Homestead says, my skin is so dry and my feet are as well, cracking this year and bleeding even. Yikes. I'm going to make lotion bars on video soon, and you should make them because they will help you. So Julie requested, or not, she didn't request, I sent them to her, and she messaged me back and said that she wanted to promote them, and I told her there was no way, that I am not in this to be a business per se. And I asked her several weeks later if she would help me set up a blog. She messaged me, says I have an unorthodox idea, and the next thing I knew she was here and we were videoing. So had no plans on that. It's all been serendipity, and I have enjoyed and loved the ride. So Serenity Mountain Homestead, I'm going to keep that in mind, and I'm going to do lotion bars. They are super duper easy, and you can do them, and they will definitely help your skin, because there is solutions out there, and don't suffer. That's all I have to say. So that is really it, guys. So shampoo bars, these are my sandalwood ones for my friend, the one in the background. Julie says, poor Kathryn, Serenity before Julie. You are not crazy, Julie. You have been a blessing in my life. Every day I am thankful for you. So there was no serenity here before. I was going crazy, and just, I've always got balls in the air. I'm constantly juggling. I am always up to something. So it's just added to my own crazy, and I have enjoyed every minute. So thank you guys for joining me. I hope you got something of value out of this. Do be looking for my Etsy store up and coming. If you don't follow me on Instagram or Facebook or here, please go ahead and like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys joining me, and we shall talk to you soon. You can see me live every Tuesday and Thursday. I'm thinking about doing a bonus Saturday show this Saturday, so do be on the lookout for it if I can get my stuff together. And again, thanks for joining, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.